whether you make it. I was able to do that, but most of the time I didn't. And it's just, you just go back that next day, and then all of a sudden you go home and, you try to get to your family first, to make sure that they know. And then it's like it's like a shock, it's just, you don't have to wake up, you don't have to practice, you don't have to, you don't have a job, you don't have anything. I mean, there's a lot that goes on. So, for me, this is probably the worst part of the job. I'd say so. So, this week's always tough for me.
As a player or coaches, how did coaches handle that messaging to you as far as, did you feel like they were sympathetic as you are right now?
Yeah, I mean, different, I always appreciated the players on the teams that and I told this to the team, the players on the teams that I was with, I appreciated, their support through this week. I think it's one of those things that it's kind of like the elephant in the room. The coaches that I had didn't really, talk about that. I kind of do. I just bring it up. I think that I always appreciated the players that, they pulled for you. They worked. You're working with them every day. You tried to make them better. They made you better. You're in the locker room, and that's tough too. When you're done and you go in that locker room for the last time, and these are guys that you've been with through the whole off season and through training camp, and it's an interesting sport because when you're in, it's great. You're in the locker room every day, everything's great, and and then all of a sudden, when you're out, you're out. You don't have that same feeling of family or team or whatever anyone wants to come to it. So, but the coaches that I was with were very respectful. I mean, they were, they appreciated the job that you did. If you stayed healthy and you were out there every day busting your butt, they kept, you keep things open. In this league, a lot of things can happen, but I always appreciated the players more than anything because even in that last preseason game, they were even though they, a lot of those guys didn't play, they were supportive. They were working with you on the sideline. They were pushing you. They were giving you every advice, for you to perform well. And I always appreciated the guys I was with from the beginning because you get a bunch of young guys or draft picks, whatever it may be. They're looking to really taking their jobs. You know what I'm saying? But I really didn't see. Everybody was very supportive of that. So it's an interesting time. The dynamics of what's going on. I can't speak for every other team, but at least I know for my experience and the team, our team.
Do you meet with every guy, Dan? You try to meet with every guy?
I do meet with everyone. Yeah.
Is that important?
Yeah, it is. It is. I think that, it's not very long. It's a tough meeting. It's, I just appreciated the, whatever 2 or 3 words that coach would say, I could pretty much, remember every one. It's a great, a lot of times for me, it's trying to, have an understanding or an appreciation and of what they've done and it's just tough.
Going back to your time as a player, who was that veteran player that influenced you?
Well, there was a ton of them, I think, and Miami, you had great players. You had, Dwight Stevenson and Roy Foster, Ronnie Lee, all those guys, John Giesler, Jeff Dellenbach was good, Mark it's just, you just know all those guys, and then when on all those teams, you just, you build those relationships. You're sitting next to them every single day. You're eating with them almost every single day, and then you're out there on the field and you're working with each other or working against each other. you're together quite a bit, and there's really, after you walk out of the building, there's no, counseling or anything like that. That's all of a sudden all the resources you've had, free food, the trainer, massages, it's all gone. It's all gone. So it's it's a life changing experience, and it's one that it's difficult because I think for me, I always had my focus just on making the team and playing. I wasn't really thinking about, hey, when this day comes and I'm not playing, what I'm going to do. So maybe some other people are better prepared, but I know I wasn't.
Doug, barring further injury this week, you've obviously started thinking about Saturday. How many spots are still, in your opinion, in your estimation, open on the 53?
Yeah, there's spots open. I mean, things can change. Things can change whether it be in practice. Things can change whether it's in a game. Things can change, afterwards, whatever the market dictates. Whether you're acquiring players, whichever way you do, things change. And I think that the worst thing you can do, is sit back there and try to count the numbers and who, I'm talking about from a player standpoint, and think who's going to make it and who's not, because, A, it's going to affect your performance. You're not going to play well, and you really don't know. You really don't know what's going to happen because there are positions that are open.
With Smoot and Anku just coming back from injury, do you take that into consideration, or are they definitely playing this week?
If they can play, they'll play.
What's your confidence level in Dante Fowler being able to kind of avoid, issues with his teammates in the locker room or on the field, or just being the?
I'm not worried about that as far as the teammates or issues there. Just have to have a good plan for him when he's not allowed to, in the building. So this way, when he comes back, he's ready to go. Which he's done a good job in practice, and he's been working hard. He really has.
Has he gotten the message about being a better pro?
You got to ask him. I mean, I've had no issues with him though. If that's what I'm saying. I mean, I've had no issues with that. But again, I can't speak for someone and how they feel and what they're doing. I can only tell you he's been great. I mean, since but he was that before. Before he did a good job.
You have a plan for him on Saturday? Have you thought about how much?
He's going to play. Yeah. That's my plan.
Any estimation on for number of snaps, or is
I don't. Not really. Not right now. I mean, maybe it might beforehand, but I just know they're going to play. And I think that's important. I would, just so you guys know, I mean, my philosophy has always been, if you're going to, you can look back at what I've done before, but if someone's playing, I never really tell them how much they're playing. Because what happens is they get that pitch count in their mind, where, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got 2 more plays left. And all of a sudden they take it a little bit easy. Maybe they stand up a little bit and someone rolls into them. I try to keep their mindset, hey, when you're getting ready to play the whole game until we tell you you're not. This way the player doesn't know and he's prepared for everything. And that's just how I feel. I don't know if it's real or what people feel or not, but I just know that my experience as a player, when people have gotten a pitch count, those guys have been counting the plays.
When do you tell the guys who aren't playing that they're not playing?
Probably the day before, so what's today? Today's Tuesday? Yeah, so tomorrow we'll talk about what we're going to do, afterwards.
But they still go down and dress and warm up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
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 With the sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to follow up. What do you think of the trend? Like, you go around the league and there's this growing trend of teams not playing anybody in the preseason. Like, I think the Rams, have not played their entire offense almost.
Yeah, I tell you what. I mean, I can't ever speak. This is how I feel. I can never speak about someone else's team because I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. So it's hard for me to say, well, I think they're doing this. All I know is what's best for our team. So for our team, I like to play guys. Right, wrong, and indifferent. That's just what I believe. What anyone else does, I'm not saying that's right, and I'm not saying I know what's best. I just know what's best for our team.
Would you like to, is Kessler at a point where you'd like to see him start, or is Tanner Lee at a point where you'd like to give him the whole game?
So Cody's going to play.
He will.
If that's your question, yeah. Both of them will play.
Seen enough from Keelan Cole that I mean, he only has one catch in the preseason. Obviously you're not concerned about it, but do you need to see more with the situation with Marrone?
No, we were looking at things, during the preseason. We feel very comfortable knowing what he can do because he's been able to do that in practice. So, I don't feel that the lack of production is really any indication of how we feel about him.
Same with D.D. Westbrook. Same with D.D.
Yeah, D.D.'s been productive for us. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's done a lot of things. We've been moving him around. So, I see that we did some things for D.D., but we really didn't put anything in, for Cole.
With the offense and defensive line, the secondary, how important is versatility when you're making that final down?
Okay, the offensive line, it's always important. Defensive line, it's important. You know what I'm saying? That helps us with numbers. And plus, if you're not a, like I always said this before, if you're not a starter, especially on the offensive line, obviously I have the experience there. Your 6th and 7th have to play multiple positions. You're only most people dress 7 for the game if everybody's healthy. I think D-line is the same way. If you dress 8, you're okay. If you have 4 inside, 4 outside. But if you dress 7, you're going to have some versatility there. I think anywhere you can find versatility, I think that's going to help you down the road. And I think at the end of the day, if you say, okay, hey, this guy is just basically a special teams player, or this guy's just basically this is what his role is, then you've got to find a way to cover it. And I usually go, the formula I use is just basically 3 deep. This guy goes, who's in next? Because mostly you have the 2 deep pretty well set on game day, but it's kind of like the what if game. I read something about that a long time ago I think it was Bo Schembechler used to, the night before the game, would go through what ifs. What if this guy gets hurt? What if this guy happens? What if? So I just have cards made up that, I just kind of write that stuff down. Bad habit, a good habit, I don't know, just anal. That's part of my anal, you know what I'm saying? My screwed up thinking,
Have you decided on a punt returner? Huh? Have you decided on who your punt returner will be?
For Saturday? I mean, for Thursday?
No, for the opener.
Oh, no.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, I appreciate it.